Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Goldie, marriage officer, and I'm going to take you through the process now of two South Africans getting married to each other. So the first thing I want to have a look at, guys, is what documentation do you need if you are a South African ID holder. Now, this is extremely important because even if you're not a South African citizen, but you own and have a South African ID card or ID book, you would need to have a copy of that. So here's what you need. As the couple, the bride and the groom, you would definitely need a copy of your SA ID book or SA ID card. That has to be certified to make sure that Home Affairs are satisfied that it is a genuine and real document. That you have to give to the marriage officer. Now, as I said before, even if you are a non-South African citizen, if you've been issued with a South African ID, you have to use that for the particular wedding. The next thing that you're going to require as a South African couple is two witnesses that are going to sign the register for you. Now, the signing of the register is your process as the husband and the wife, or the groom and the bride, but also for the two witnesses. Now, witnesses can be anybody over the age of 18, and it has to be somebody that obviously can sign legally. So we must make sure that they have got access to an ID book, or if they are not a South African citizen, that they've got access to their passport and the last entry stamp. So let me just go through that with you quickly. A South African signing as a witness will need an SAID certified copy, please. If somebody is a non-South African signing as a witness, you would need a copy of their passport and the last entry stamp into South Africa, because that would be the document that they would need to be able to prove that they are actually legally in the country. Okay, so far let's just recap. South African ID document for the bride, South African ID document for the groom, and obviously for the witnesses, either a South African ID document or, very important, a copy of their passport and entry stamp. You would also need 3 ID size photographs. These are the little black and white all color photographs that you would give to me as the marriage officer, and I would attach those photographs to the actual register, and underneath those photographs is where you would do your thumbprint. That is to verify that, number one, there is a person behind the signature and there is definitely a life. So that's why they need a photograph and they need a thumbprint, a left thumbprint. Then I would make sure that you're aware of the fact that there are different people that get married. People that have been married before, and then obviously people that have never been married. If you are a person that's been married before and divorced, you would need to supply the decree of the divorce. Now, this is important. The decree of divorce must have the stamp of the court clearly visible, because when Home Affairs take in the register from myself, they will capture that information onto the system. And the first thing that they will always do is they will check your ID number and check your marital status. If your marital status says that you are still legally married according to Home Affairs, they will need to send that decree of divorce away to Pretoria for the change to happen. And that change will then obviously be made on the system before the new registration of the new marriage. So it's always important, here's a tip, it's always important, guys, do a check of your status prior to the wedding date. How you do that is actually very easy. There's an SMS line that you can use, 32551. 32551, you put a capital M, a space, and your ID number, and you send that off, and then you will get an SMS back. Most times it will come back, and that really depends on obviously if the system's working. But when the system is working, you'll get a SMS back to say what is your marital status. If it comes back and it says that you are single or divorced, no problem, you know that it's on the system. If however it comes back and it says that you are still married, be aware of the fact that there's going to be delay in getting your new registration of your new marriage onto the system, because they will still have to do the change. So it would actually make sense to go to Home Affairs prior to the date of the wedding, hand in a copy of your decree of divorce, and start that process. That will help minimize the impact and the waiting time for the registration of the wedding or the marriage after the wedding has taken place. Again, we would need a clear copy of the decree of divorce. And please remember, it's the decree of divorce. It's not the summons. It's not the appearance in court. It's not the the agreement that was come to between the two parties as just the decree of divorce. So that would have the name of the court and would obviously have the stamp of the court. Then the other thing that we would need is if you are somebody that has been married before but have lost your husband or your wife, in other words, you're a widower or a widow, we would then need a death certificate. Again, guys, a clear death certificate of your late husband or wife, because again, they would have to check on the system to make sure that that death has been registered so that you are then released to be married again, and the registration of that wedding would be able to go ahead. So those are the things that you're going to need if you are two South African citizens. So let me go through it again quickly. 2 IDs, husband and wife, 2 witnesses, either IDs or passport and entry stamp. Please note, no South African passport can be given as a form of identification. It has to be the SA ID book or ID card. All right, so hopefully that helps you as two South Africans coming in to get married. The only other document, and this is a very important document, is the letter from the lawyer that draws up your contract should you decide to go out of community of property. Now, in South Africa, by default, you are in community of property. So if you opt out, you would have to go to a lawyer, draw up the contract, and they would then tell you, or they would give you a letter, and that letter I need, because I need to supply that letter to Home Affairs together with your register. So please keep that in mind. So remember, IDs of the witnesses, IDs of the 2 husband and wife to be, death certificate if required, the decree of divorce if required, the 3 ID size photographs, and that letter from the lawyer. And that's it. And then there's other information, but that information I would get anyway from you. So guys, I hope you found this interesting. You're more than welcome to contact me, Troy, Goldie Marriage Officer. My details on screen. If you feel like you would like to contact me and get some more information, or you need help, or possibly you need somebody to do your wedding, it'd be great to be part of it. Thanks guys. Cheers.